If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Good morning, and welcome to Inside the News right here on WINNFM 98.9. Today is Saturday, April 15, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the discussion for today. It is 5 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour, and we're going to get this program started. Again, thank you so much for joining the discussion. We are also live on our social media platforms. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, as well as Instagram. And of course, visit www.winmediaskn.com for the latest in what's happening in St. Kitts and Nevis across the Caribbean region and internationally. All right, welcome to Inside the News right here on WinFM 98.9. Thank you so much for joining the program for today. We'll be taking a look at some of the events that took place throughout this week. And of course, we will be opening the phone lines a little later to hear from you, the callers, your views and opinions. But we'll be looking at some of the events that took place this week. We'll be going inside the news, looking at what's happening and what took place throughout the week. Now, what made news or headlines, and this is as recent as September 14, which was on Friday of this week. It says anti-narcotics unit seizes 30 kg of suspected Hanish from Southeast Peninsula. Now, a package of drugs weighing 30 kg was seized by the anti-narcotics unit in the police force here, and this was from they found it at the Southeast Peninsula, according to a statement from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis police force. Now, officers of the anti-narcotics unit, they seized the contraband on the night of April 13 from Turtle Beach based on information received from police personnel at the Frigate Bay Police Station. The statement read, and I'm quoting, there they encountered one brown package that was observed to have been emitting a strong smell of cannabis. The suspected contraband was taken into police. They seized the... Hold on, let me back up. It says the suspected contraband was taken into police custody, where a further inspection revealed 3 packages containing 60 transparent packages containing a brown substance suspected to be hashish. No person of interest have been identified or arrested in connection with the drugs. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. More on this as information becomes available. So they have seized 30 kilograms of suspected hashish from the Southeast Peninsula. According to the police, they have no person or persons of interest. As soon as more information becomes available, we will provide that to you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, this was seized by the anti-narcotics unit in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis police force. There have always been allegations of drug trafficking and movements of drug within our communities and across the Caribbean region. And police force, the police force here and the various police forces across the Caribbean, they have been ramping up efforts to try to slow it down, curb it, stop it altogether. We know as it is now here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and more so in St. Lucia, there is a crime situation that they're dealing with. The Prime Minister, they had to call on the regional security system to assist, and the regional security system, RSS, comprises of other member states like Antigua and Barbuda, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, and so they have been deployed there to assist with the situation. But in terms of drug trafficking and the police seizing drugs and all of that, this has been an ongoing issue. Now, it begs the question, what steps are the police going to take to prevent or to slow the trafficking of drugs within our communities and within our within the Caribbean region? Now, as looking at this on the surface, we're just seeing, hey, some drugs were found in Southeast Peninsula, and that's about it. But if you dig deeper, there is so much that can be said. There is so much that has been happening over a period of time. Now, this week, you'll recall that I mentioned that the police force we'll be implementing a number of measures to fight crime here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And one of those programs or initiatives include the reinstallation of the school liaison officer, where is a case where they assign a police officer to the various schools across the Federation. And that officer is there to work alongside the teachers and guidance counselors to ensure that the children there are doing what they're supposed to be doing, going to school to learn their lesson instead of going to school to get involved in illegal and criminal activity. These days, you have a situation where people as young as 12 and 13 and 14 years old are now into the drugs. And I'm not just talking about the marijuana, I'm talking about cocaine and those different things. I mean, when you hear of the stories across the region where the police are seizing drugs in primary schools and in secondary schools, I don't think the secondary schools part is really shocking, but the primary school part is really shocking. So while we're looking at this on the surface that, hey, some drugs were found at Southeast Peninsula, there's a lot more to the whole conversation of drug trafficking and our young people getting involved in drug trafficking and, just dealing with drugs. Lethal and really, really potent drugs that can change your life, not for the better, but definitely for the worse. For those of you who are just tuning in, you're listening to Inside the News right here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We'll take a break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right here on 98.9. Stick and stay, we'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go round.
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on WINNFM 98.9. It is 19 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour. I am your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. The numbers to call are 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. Welcome back to the program. This is Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9 for Saturday, April 15, 2023. I am Devon Cornelius. Now, in yesterday's edition, on Friday's edition of Voices here on WINNFM, there was in the latter part of the conversation, of the program rather, there was the topic of the music festival and someone highlighting or people highlighting that there are no Nivision acts. That became a much talked about topic. It's been going on social media over the past, 2 days. Yeah, about 2 days. And people have been sharing their views and opinions on the matter. Due to the fact that we were out of time yesterday, I did not get the opportunity to comment on that topic, and I wanted to use the opportunity to do so. Now, there has been a lot of talk about the fact that there is no Nivision acts as part of the St. Kitts Music Festival lineup for this year, to the point where people are spewing a lot of hate, a lot of division, which I think is totally unnecessary. It is uncalled for. There is no need for that. And I think more and more we run ourselves into situations that are uncalled for. There is no need for us to go to the point where we are talking about whether Kittitians and Nivisions like each other and those kind of foolish and stupid arguments. That's what I call them. Foolish and stupid. Using the brush to paint everybody. One brush to paint everybody the same. I don't agree with that. Mind you, people have their own view and opinion on certain matters, and particularly this one. And that is your right. And that is absolutely fine. But you look at the situation, it's depressing in terms of the conversation that is being had now, that it's a St. Kitts versus Nevis thing, and it's unfortunate. It is really, really unfortunate. Some really good points were made here yesterday when you look at event planning and organizing. There is a lot that goes into putting on an event. I have never organized a major event before, but I've been part of event planning. And I can tell you, sometimes the budget to plan the event is about, let's say, $5,000. Let's say it's a small event. An event you're catering for about 200 people. And the budget is about $5,000. And with that $5,000, you are expected to get food, drinks, entertainment, secure a venue, ensure that that venue is prepared for the event in terms of decoration and all of that. You also have to pay the service providers. In terms of tickets, these days you want to ensure that you have tickets to secure spots, and so the printing of tickets and all of that. There is so much that goes into an event. And I'm just saying this to say that when you look at St. Kitts Music Festival, which can't even compare to the small events that I'm talking about here, there's a lot more that goes into it. And so you go into the event with about $5,000 as your budget, and you end up spending $10,000. And at the end of the day, you probably make back about, let's say, $3,000, $4,000 if you're lucky. If you're lucky. And so half the time when people are putting on these events, they don't really make a profit. They do it for entertainment purposes. Because as human beings, we need entertainment. We need entertainment for our mental health. You understand? And so half the times these events are not put on for profit. They're put on for entertainment and just to bring people together. Or as grandmasters would say, outside again. And so, when you look at any event and you're considering which artists you would want in your lineup, there are so many factors that have to be considered when you are creating a lineup. Now, don't misunderstand what I am saying here. I am not for one moment trying to justify the reason why there is no Nivision acts on the lineup for this year. There have been Nivision acts over the years. What is surprising is that I remember the music festival last year. The first person to perform at the festival, I think it was Friday night or Saturday night. I'm not certain. Maybe Friday or Saturday. But it was Vinyl Powell out of Nevis. I think most of you are familiar with who Vinyl Powell is. And the very same people who are now saying, we don't have any Nivision acts, and why it is that the St. Kitts Music Festival left out Nivision acts. The very same people who are saying that are the very same people who are saying, oh, I mean, I go music festival only because I don't want to see no local acts. I want to see the international artists there. And so on one hand, we have people that I would say are pretending that they are in support of our local artists. And then on the other hand, you have those who just want to be hypocrites, which is the same thing actually. And want to pretend as though they are so concerned about the local acts and division acts and all of that. Now, I said here yesterday that there was a comment from someone saying, asking the question if Nevis have acts. And I was offended by the comment. And that person is out of place. And I made no apology for that statement. I didn't see the comment. Well, I saw it after I went back to have a look at the thread of the conversation. But when we get to that level, we are spewing hate, we're being childish. So on one hand, we have here in St. Kitts and Nevis, oh, we so love our local artists and you have to give them a chance, and why are you keep putting them to play first? And on the other hand, whenever events are held, like Ike said yesterday, whenever events are held, some people don't show up. We quicker support the international artists than we support our own. And so if you want our local artists to do better, to strive, to get out there, to be seen, to be heard, we have to support them at home. Charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. That's how I see it. But we can't on one hand be saying, boy, we are so in support of these local artists, and on the other hand, we are not supporting the events that they're having. The other part of that conversation is that we have some local artists that are afraid of criticism. Now, there's a difference between people being just like confusion and those who are genuinely concerned about you, and so they give constructive criticism. But we have some local artists that they're afraid to take constructive criticism. And there are some people that when you constructively criticize some of our local performers and artists, oh my gosh, it's like you have committed a sin. These days you can't tell the local artists, but really sound too good, But here's what I would suggest. Or maybe you should try this, or maybe you should try that. Immediately, they put up a wall, get offended. So that too should be added to the conversation. That if you want to be seen, you want to be heard, first, our people have to support you, and two, you have to take the criticism. And everybody gonna like you. Some people would tell you, yeah, man, everything you do is wonderful. And there are others who, even if you sneeze, is a problem. But that too should be added to the conversation. But I'm saying all of this to say that we have a role to play. We have to support our local artists and performers. We can't on one hand be saying or lobbying for them to be a part of the lineup each year when we are not supporting them at smaller events. I'm not saying that every small event is held you have to go. That's unsustainable for certain people. But there's some people who actually, they do a whole campaign to say why they ain't going to see no local artists perform. Cause them they ain't ready yet and them they ain't. I mean, come on. Hypocrites. That's how I see it. It's 11:29 here in the studios of WINNFM 98.9 and you're tuned into Inside the News for Saturday, April 15, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. We'll take a short break to acknowledge the sponsors of this program, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right here on 98.9, and we'll open the phone lines thereafter. Call us at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. So we'll take this break, and when we come back, we'll open the phone lines.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
If you need insurance, our service is the best. Home motor insurance can give you more for less. Property insurance can save you a lot of stress. At TDC Insurance Company Limited, we care about your investment. Guarantee you peace of mind. The best team in the business. Guarantee you peace of mind. No other company will guarantee you peace of mind. Together we'll succeed and guarantee you peace of mind. TDC Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on WINNFM 98.9. Before I open the phone lines, let me just put in this here again regarding the St. Kitts and Nevis Independence 40 theme competition. Now, the competition guidelines are: the theme must be concise and memorable. It must be a phrase, a clause, or a short sentence, no more than 6 to 8 words. The theme must capture the essence of the country's 40-year history of independence, as well as its current realities and the standard or shared future that all citizens can reasonably strive towards. Email submissions to independenceskn@gmail.com. That is independenceskn@gmail.com. Participants of the theme competition must submit their names, address, and contact numbers with each entry. And of course, you get the opportunity to win $1,500 EC dollars. Entries for the theme competition are accepted from citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis. Winner will be expected to appear and participate in specific Independence faulty activities. The deadline is midnight, Sunday, April 30, 2023. Late entries will not be acknowledged or considered. Let's head to the phone line and we'll take our first call for this morning. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes,
Mr.
caller.
Devon?
Yes, good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning. Speaking about support for locals, it's very difficult, you know. We just have a tendency, just don't like to go places early. Because sometimes when you look at even the sporting events, local sports, people not showing up early. Only when the big team name come on, when you watch even CPL, certain team is playing early, some people not show up. When the big team name start to play, that's when you see the crowd get up. So maybe it's just a tendency, people just don't like to go place early or not.
True.
I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. But a lot of local people have very good talents, but sometimes they really don't get the support. They don't have to get discouraged out of the all love. But the real reason why I call you speak of something this morning in your opening statement about the drugs that found over at, I think, was the peninsula?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, you said the police now is exercising something they want to go into school. But on the music festival press conference day on Thursday, they say they going to have what? A marijuana festival this year?
The minister said 420 friendly, which is, yes, marijuana.
So you can imagine how much smoke can go in there. Everybody don't have the spliff. I wonder if the police will subject them to say, oh, you cannot walk with this amount. Because if you're just smoking, if everybody in there entitled to smoke, I don't know what would happen. Some people don't walk with some big batch. Some might walk with just a snatch. So the police have the job on their hand.
But I think the Ms. Henderson, the minister, she noted that I think there are conversations being had with the legal team and the police to see how best they can execute the 420 friendly initiative. Yeah. But that's all the information I have on that right now.
As if the police is fighting on one hand and you could have that. I thought she said after this they're going to try to go into marijuana going after this. This is just like a trial.
Yes.
So I wish them well, as he was mentioning about some of the artists that, you know, if you don't like them, you don't go. I mean, I agree with you on that. I mean,
right.
I used to go, but I don't really go, so. But who want to go, I wish them well, and I actually wish the country well, and I wish the community well. Because more people in the island is more better for the country. Maybe the organizers might not make money, but local people will definitely make money, so.
Right.
I got my best wishes on them. All right, then. Thank you very much.
All right, Colin. Thank you so much for your contribution to the discussion for today. This is Inside the News on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let me use this opportunity to give an update from the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force before I take another phone call. It is a missing person update. The general public is hereby notified that Isaiah Berry has been found. He is in good health and is currently being interviewed by the police, after which he will be returned to the custody of his legal guardian. The Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force extends its gratitude to the general public for their assistance with this matter. Community collaboration counts. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls right here on 98.9. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. Let's take this one. Hello, caller. You are on the air. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Devon.
How are you doing today?
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Boy, I said you really brought down the language, eh? The youth parliamentarian must be checking you. Anyway, good morning to all your listeners at home and abroad. I am here giving God thanks for another day. We hear about all the flooding in Florida, you know. A lot of it is in the area where Kittitians and so live, you know. Broward County. That's our people live up there. So to all of you, please take care. And as we see the day unfolding, as Greg would say, time to repent. You just can't take life for granted. We had hail the other day, one morning we must wake up to snow, eh? So, prepare to meet your God. Now, the issue with the drugs, they said what kind of drugs it was?
Yes. Well,
what was it?
Hold on. Let me pull back up the article just to be sure. Go ahead, Colin. Make your point.
I was asking what kind of drug was it?
Go on, make your point. I'm trying to find the article again.
Oh.
I lost it.
I am saying drugs coming in on the peninsula is not new thing. It's just that we are reactive. You have so much more increased activity over there in terms of landings. So many places. You even have a legal port of entry over there where yachts come in. You know that, right?
Yes.
Who is over there to monitor what comes off the yachts? I mean, we may say, well, they are mega ships and all of that. But that is what they use, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner on these kind of vessels. So, to me, we find something and then we relax. Because even the idea of boats coming in and putting off illegal migrants, and you know how much monitoring going on around our coast.
Not to cut you off, caller. It's hashish. It's do you know what hashish is?
Is that a thing, a residue from ganja?
From the cannabis plant.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's a suspected hashish.
So I'm saying the same thing, you know, we just, to relax, we wait until the next boat come in, the next shipment come in, you know. Now the one with the Nevis event. We make apologies for what we know to be wrong, you know. We make a lot of apologies yesterday. I call it apologies. And the idea, is it a St. Kitts music festival or a St. Kitts Nevis music festival? Because the name suggests it's a St. Kitts music festival, isn't that so?
Yeah, it's a St. Kitts music festival.
So they treat it like a St. Kitts music festival? If from the beginning they had said, watch, if from the beginning they had said St. Kitts Nevis music festival, it would have created a different image in the mind of people.
Right.
Because, you know, some people still discriminate against Nevis, no matter how you turn it.
Right.
Well, they can't talk, they can't sing. The bands could play. I remember some years ago, this band from Nevis came over for Juve. I remember the name of it. And they sounded better than, to me, most if not all the Kittitian bands. They had this is the first band I ever saw. With the singer on the road, he had one of those thing mics, you know. So he was able to walk on the ground and good music, you know. But we're so biased in our thinking. And another thing, we now have the orange economy. To say that the people some of them can't sing is true. Some of them really can't sing. But you have recording studios where they go. So you hear them before you record them. I am saying, since it is so evident, shouldn't they, the pace, let me go straight for pace, because I hear people talking, making apologies. Shouldn't they begin to organize workshops to teach some of them how to hold a tune? Because some of the lyrics are good.
But you,
See what I'm saying?
I agree with your caller, but you know, when you tell some local artists that they can't sing, they
You
vex with
see,
you,
it's
know?
how we just tell them, you know. It's how we just tell them. If you say you can't sing, you could say you will sing much better. You hear the difference?
I agree.
It's how you say it.
That
you
is
can't
true.
sing.
That
I
is
mean,
true.
you can't sing.
That is true. That is true.
Sound coming out your mouth. Say, you know, you can improve your singing. I listen to some of the Jamaicans can't sing either. But they go to studios where they see people singing. And if you are having a recording studio, you should help them when you see they're going off key, or the words run into each other. Then you could stop the recording, say, you know. So I think we can contribute to the improvement because when you start to say they can't sing and they can't sing, how many Jamaicans could sing? How many Bajans could sing? But they have things in place. The Ministry of Culture could do it too, because I think they've done some things for the Calypsonians. I don't know if you recall that. They've done some workshops
Yes.
for
yes.
the people who, yes, to show them how to record properly. Well, it's the same thing, because in some of the schools they don't have music. In the old time days ago, they do where we felt, you know, so you know this is a tune. So I am suggesting, because I have listened to a number of our young artists. They sound good, but they need some help. So I am saying the time is spent criticizing them. And another thing, we are the ones footing the bill. We are the ones putting that bill for the people outside, you know. It makes no sense you put them on first, because our people are known to come late. Put them just before some famous artists. They're already in there. They come to hear Buju Banton, where they're coming on before Buju Banton. Put them in strategic places. If you're going to put them on the top, and you know we're always late, then you are the one organizing the failure of our people. And the Visions have every right as a petition. They need to change the name. As long as it's saying it's music festival, the Vision got to beg to go. And the young lady from last year, what her name was again? She can sing. The one you call.
Yes, Vanilla Powell.
She can sing. But where did you place her?
I think she
Place
was
them between two good to who they pay to come to see. And another thing again, we don't value our people, you know. I hear people justifying paying somebody, I don't know if it's true, 500,000 US. And then our people got to sing, and you're giving them money that can't even buy the clothes that to shop in. We devalue our own people. And again, even this one who they're calling, I used to go to the gospel thing, So I have been to a number of them when they serve it on Fort Thomas. But I'm saying, when that artist would have performed in Antigua or St. Martin, they have actually reduced the number of people we would get, you know. Are you aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
If he's the drawing card, his price supposed to be low. Because as far as I hear, here is the last place he's coming. When you go to buy fish and the last set of fish cheaper, the last set of food in the bottom of the pot. So our people lack negotiating skills, that is all. And we don't value our own people. We put on our bands them and they bring the crowd up there. How much do they get? We expect the bands them to get new uniform, new this, new that. Get singers and dancers. And then you pay them some measly money and you don't pay them. And then you turn around and you pay all kind of Jamaica singers who you could get on YouTube. A lot of the singers they bring here on YouTube, you know. So to me, we just lack respect for our own people and lack of negotiating skills. Don't tell me that no singer ready from Africa or Asia. Value so much. When he has been around here, I remember people went down in all the stormy weather to St. Martin. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
But why should St. Martin people come here to hear him? Why should anybody from the islands around come to hear him if he's the top card? They can't negotiate. In so many ways, we cannot negotiate. Even in government policy, we don't know how to negotiate. So I would suggest to Dr. Drew, Get our people trained. Otherwise, you're going to always get a disadvantage. Because who have the card, call the price. All right, then.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. This is Inside the News here on WinFM 98.9. Let's take a break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on 98.9. We'll be right back.
The TDC Home and Building Depots have gone green for the month of April. We're giving our customers 20% in savings on all eco-friendly products. Shop during Earth Week, April 17th to 22nd with your green bag and claim your green bonus with an extra 5% off the items that fit inside. Then on Earth Day, April the 22nd, it's no plastic bag day. Bring along your own green bag, shop as you please, and enjoy the savings. Live the green life with the TDC Home and Building Depots, everyone's favorite retail stores. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back to the program. This is Inside the News on WinFM 98.9. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. For those of you who have just tuned in the first hour, we touched on the drugs that were found at Southeast Peninsula. 30 kilograms of suspected hashish was found at the Southeast Peninsula. I shared some information on the Independence 40 theme competition, encouraging one and all to participate for a chance to win $1,500 AC dollars. An update from the police force states that the young man reported missing on Friday, Isaiah Berry, has been found. He's alive and well, and he's currently in police custody. And shortly after, he will be released to his legal guardian. This is Inside the News for Saturday, April 15, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. It is 11:52. We break at 12 for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Welcome back. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Hello, caller. You are on the air. Good morning.
Greetings. Okay, thanks for the information. Thanks for the information you flow so far. Concerning the 420 connection with this St. Kitts Nevis Music Festival. By the way, what it is called initially? St. Kitts Nevis Music Festival or St. Kitts Music Festival?
No, it was always St. Kitts Music Festival.
Really? It shouldn't start so, you know. It shouldn't start so. They say what bad a morning can come good a evening, you know. We are a federation, aren't we?
Yeah, but well, everybody entitled to their own view, but I don't see any issue with it being the St. Kitts Music Festival. Nevis has Culturama, and it's just for Nevis.
Yeah, but, true, but see what I'm saying, you know, because in a negative feedback. Yeah, I don't have no problem with it neither, but
yeah.
it causing a vibes. Won't you agree?
Yeah, well, as I said, I've been following the conversations, and they've not been really nice.
No, they're not pleasant.
Yeah.
They're not pleasant. We don't need that right now. We need healing. We need unification. We need unison. We don't need nothing to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is otherwise. Okay, the connection with ongoing 420 ganja observation and celebration. It's a universal international thing, and let's not go there with the whole heap of marijuana talk. Because marijuana is a negative name that is put on the herb. Ganja and marijuana is not the same. Marijuana is something that them fix, and that it start just like how we just say about St. Kitts Music Festival. It start bad, it start on the wrong foot. That name they come from a bad setting. So we don't want to go there. Because let's just say the herb or ganja. The marijuana, we don't connect with the marijuana. And as we said before, you know, then say because we embracing the herb as we ought to. They must say, oh, the youths them gun this and that and tow there and everything mashed down, you know. How come alcohol legal and we don't have that mash down thing? That the food people on the junks, what the youth them eating for food, and the alcohol consumption. Why them not watch them things? Why them just dip on a natural God created herb? Them just dip on it. It's gonna cause this and it's gonna cause that. We're past that bridge. We're not idiots. And God no make no mistake. The Creator no make no mistake. Yeah? His creation not good. Without any addition and going through any process. The herb is a natural, blessed gift to the human family. And the human body is herb, ganja friendly. If we do the research and stop talk ignorantly and cause and create mountain out of, yeah? If we stop that, man. Once again, we want to thank the St. Kitts Nevis Music Festival for getting involved in the 420, the ongoing 420 international celebration, celebrating the goodness of the herb. Yeah? We want to thank them and just take the whatever connection we have concerning the herb and its elevation and its upping up. Let us be part of it internationally. Let us be part of it. There's a lot of goodness to be derived, health-wise and money-wise. Because we have to balance it. Yeah? Give thanks. Blessed love.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. We'll take a break now for the headline news, and when we come back, sorry about that. We'll break shortly for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. I think I can facilitate at least one more call before we break for the headline news. For those of you who are just joining the conversation, we were on the topic of the drugs, the hashish, that suspected hashish that was found at the Southeast Peninsula. I gave an update on the missing person bulletin that was shared by the police force. That individual has since been found. Let me take a pen and head to the phone lines, and I'll facilitate this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I just want you to explain to me what exactly this 420 concept. That's my question.
Well, I don't have any.
I'll hang up so you could answer.
Caller, I don't have all the details on it. I'm not too sure, so I can't explain it.
All right, could somebody listening please come back and tell us what exactly it is and what they hope to achieve?
Yeah.
All right then.
All right, thank you so much. I don't have any information on the 420 initiative, so I can't speak to it, except to say that according to the minister, they are in talks with their legal team, and more information will be provided. But I can't speak on it because I'm not too informed on what it's all about. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Fraternal love and greeting, brother. How you doing, Cornelius?
I'm doing good, thanks. What about you?
I'm giving time because I'm in the shores of Nevis now, relaxing with my ganja time, yeah? As Miss Mama Henry wants to know what 420 mean and what the concept of it really achieving. The aspect is about bringing forward what herb have indicated from their time before when they used to chastise and tarnish herb. So we're bringing a awakening to let people know what herb can do in its different formation of oil and other production. That is what we're looking to achieve in the concept of 420. It's not just smoking alone. You go in that formation and you see all kind of different avenues made from herb in that 420 celebration. And you'll see how much people can smoke ganja all over in that time of 420. So, Mama Henry, I hope that explain what you're looking at and the way how we see herbs supposed to be utilized in our society, because we're not a juggler down here. Hash is not no controlled substance. Is a natural thing that comes from the herb. It's just like the gum, and then you could preheat it and create additional or putting it on your. If you have like as they call shakes, you put it on your shake to get a little flavor of natural taste of the herb still. So it's not like no brown. It's natural herb it is. So blessed love. Give thanks.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to the discussion. We'll now take a break for the headline news, and we will be back. Stick and stay.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A Excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
With the WINNFM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown. Our top stories: the 16-year-old that was reported missing has been found. International Monetary Fund urges CBI countries to save revenue for rainy days. Relatives of Puerto Rico governor pled guilty to embezzling funds meant for public housing. Belize government defends decision to impose visa restrictions on Jamaicans and Haitians. Internationally, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was evacuated unharmed from a public event after what appeared to be a smoke bomb was thrown at him. Now the details. Isaiah Berry, the 16-year-old reported missing on April 14th by law enforcement, has been found. News that the young man was found began circulating on social media on April 14th and was confirmed by the police in a statement on April 15th. Police indicated that the young man was in police custody with his mother being interviewed on the morning of April 15th. There was no indication as to why the young man was reported missing by the police. One of the mandates of the Labor administration was to diversify the Federation's economy to free the country from its economic dependence on the revenue from the Citizenship by Investment program. While CBI programs across the Caribbean region contribute significantly to the economies, the industry is volatile if strength and access of the golden passports are threatened. In 2022, in response to the Russia-Ukraine war, the European Union's Parliament, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America threatened to impose visa restrictions on countries with CBI schemes. The move launched Caribbean leaders of countries that offer the program, including Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, and St. Kitts and Nevis, to call out the EU's Parliament on the decision and how it would negatively affect the economies in the region. Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Gaston Brown penned a letter last year explaining the possible impact, outlining the security procedures that have to be done to be approved for a golden passport. Brown said he believed the programs do not represent any risks to the EU, US, and UK despite what the EU Parliament surmised. A US Caribbean roundtable on the programs held in St. Kitts and Nevis in February resulted in 5 Eastern Caribbean states with CBI programs committing to 6 CBI principles proposed by the U.S. to be implemented in the programs going forward. The 6 principles: 1. Collective agreement on the treatment of denials, not to process applications from persons whose applications have been denied in another CBI jurisdiction by proactively sharing information on denials. 2. Interviews, conduct interviews with applicants whether virtual or in person. 3. Additional checks. Each jurisdiction will run checks on each application with the Financial Intelligence Unit of its respective country. 4. Audits. Audit the program annually or every 2 years in accordance with internationally accepted standards. 5. Retrieval of passports. Request law enforcement assistance to retrieve revoked or recalled passports. 6. Treatment of Russians and Belarusians. Suspend processing applications from Russians and Belarusians. With all this focus on the CBI programs of the region in the last few years, their importance on the economic growth of the countries they serve remains strong despite their volatility and the calls and plans for diversification. The acting director of the International Monetary Fund's Western Hemisphere Department, Nigel Chalk, said while the CBI programs have been important to Caribbean countries, the volatility needs to be considered more.
So these have been a very important feature of the region, the Caribbean, particularly for St. Kitts. And we're generally very supportive of those. They've generated an important amount of revenues for the country, and those revenues offer the potential to be deployed in a range of areas, and there's lots of needs, including, as you mentioned, to some extent, social spending, but also the region is very prone to hurricanes. There's a lot of need to make the infrastructure more resilient, to adapt to climate change, and also to decarbonize the economy, because the countries are very exposed to big shifts in global fuel prices. So I think on the whole, the CBI program has been important in these countries.
Chalk went so far as to urge CBI territories in the region to save the revenues of CBI programs for rainy days and reduce spending habits.
This revenue is very volatile, so I think you have to be very careful about spending that revenue in a lumpy way. So we prefer a system where the CBI revenue is basically saved, and some spending is derived from that revenue basically through the stream of income that those savings creates. That's a more stable system rather than having kind of stop-go spending linked to depending on how much CBI revenue you get in a year. And I think it's really important to maintain the integrity and actually to improve the integrity of these schemes, given their reliance on sort of recognition by some of the larger economies. And in that, the ECCU is moving ahead, actually. I think recently they had a press release that they're moving ahead to improve the integrity of these schemes in conjunction with some of the larger economies.
Nigel Chalk, acting director of the IMF Western Hemisphere Department, during a press conference on April 13th. The advice to save for a rainy day was further compounded when Chalk, despite saying the Caribbean is expecting growth, although slow growth in 2023 with slight retractions in 2024, warned that countries in the region should come up with contingencies if interest rates continue to rise due to relentless inflationary pressures. In regional news, relatives of Puerto Rico governor pled guilty to embezzling funds meant for public housing. Belize government defends decision to impose visa restrictions on Jamaicans and Haitians. Those reports and more from Carib Update.
Relatives of Puerto Rico Governor Pedro Pelorsi have pleaded guilty to embezzling millions of federal dollars destined for public housing in the territory. Walter and Eduardo Pelorsi, two of the governor's cousins, admitted the charges of federal funds theft following a raid of Walter's business, American Management and Administration, by Federal Bureau of Investigation agents. Eduardo and a third co-defendant, David Velez, were employed by the company. Their guilty pleas will result in a 37-month jail sentence for Walter Pelorsi, 58, and anywhere from 24 to 37 months for 52-year-old Eduardo Pelorsi, who may ask for a consideration for a sentence near the lower boundary due to health issues. Velez is expected to plead guilty also. Cuba plans to resume accepting deportation flights from the United States this month, a Cuban official said, echoing U.S. concerns about the highest levels of Cuban migration in 6 decades. Carlos Fernandez de Cosio, Cuba's deputy foreign minister, said flights are expected before the U.S. ends coronavirus pandemic-related restrictions on asylum on May 11, which is widely projected to increase the number of people seeking entry to the U.S. at the U.S.-Mexico border. Fernandez de Cosio said there was no agreement on the frequency of flights, which will depend on U.S. and Cuban capacity, but he said there was no reason they can't return to pre-pandemic levels of about twice a month. The last flight was in December 2020. Belize immigration officials have defended the decision to impose a visa and other restrictions on Jamaicans and Haitians entering the country, insisting they are not attempting to restrict anyone who intends to come to Belize legitimately. The government last week said it would invoke Article 226A of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, which governs the regional integration movement CARICOM. The John Briceño government said that invoking the article will allow for the Minister of Immigration to immediately impose a visa restrictions for Haitians wishing to visit Belize. Jamaicans will have to provide evidence of fully paid non-refundable hotel reservations prior to boarding flights to Belize. But the move has met with some criticism from opposition leader Shine Barrow, who denounced the move, citing a 2013 judgment by the Caribbean Court of Justice in respect of the free movement of CARICOM nationals across the region. But Prime Minister John Briceño said the opposition is just seeking attention.
I think the leader of the opposition is suffering from attention deficit disorder, not just wants attention, because he knows what is happening. We did not take it lightly. Actually, it is his father, during being the Prime Minister then, that required the Haitians to get a visa to come into Belize, contrary to the Treaty of Chaguaramas. I do not recall the no leader of the opposition back then calling out the UDP, saying that you're moving contrary to the Treaty of Chaguaramas.
The decision by the government comes amid an increase in the number of persons arriving from those countries and subsequently crossing over into Mexico illegally en route to North America. Briceño said Belize cannot be seen as a transit point to get to the United States. He said his country does not want to be under any scrutiny by the U.S. government.
We will get you to Belize, and from Belize we will get you to the United States. That's human trafficking. The United States government has already been looking at us and calling our attention and saying, listen, we are seeing now evidence of human trafficking through your country. And so what is it that you're going to do? So it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. We had no other option but to remove the visa, to implement a visa requirement for Haitians.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Immigration, Gilroy Middleton, said the situation with Jamaicans disappearing after entering Belize is also similar, except that it involves a considerably smaller number. Minister of Agriculture Jose Abelardo May also weighed in on the matter, saying that Belize's decision to add more requirements for Haitian and Jamaican nationals to enter the country has nothing to do with trade. May explained that while he has said that it is difficult to conduct trade with CARICOM because of all the red tape mechanisms in place, the decision now to require more from these travelers is based solely on immigration reasons.
In the case of we putting on requirements for visas to the Jamaicans, it has nothing to do with trade. It has to see with the human trafficking that's passing through the country. We've seen the data showing the amount of Jamaicans that come into the country and do not leave. And so where are they? Where are these Jamaicans? And so the government has to react to this. Now, the Jamaican government may not be happy with it, but we also have a responsibility to act and to safeguard our borders from human trafficking. It is a global problem, human trafficking. And if the U.S., who's our trading partner, tells us, listen, guys, you need to tighten on this, then we need to do so.
UN agencies on Thursday warned of a worrying spike in migrants crossing the dangerous Darien Gap between Panama and Colombia, saying already this year more than 100,000 had made the journey. The Darien jungle has become a corridor for migrants trying to reach the United States, despite being fraught with dangers such as raging rivers, wild animals, and criminal gangs.
We now bring you these international reports.
A man arrested on suspicion of throwing a smoke bomb at Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has been identified by the authorities as 24-year-old Ryuji Kimura. There are no further details regarding a possible motivation. Mr. Kishida was about to give a speech in support of a local candidate of his ruling party, the LDP. Prime Minister Kishida made a speech at another location later on where he said the incident should not be allowed to disrupt the electoral process. The attack comes ahead of nationwide local elections and by-elections for vacated seats in Japan's lower house. Our correspondent Shaima Khalil in Tokyo has the latest.
Very dramatic scenes coming this morning from Wakayama in western Japan. Chaos among the crowd as a young man is being tackled and then pinned to the ground by security personnel, and then a screaming crowd scrambling to leave the scene as a loud explosion is heard and then smoke fills the air. The man is then being taken away from the scene. The Prime Minister is taken to safety. We heard from one witness who said she was among the crowd of about 100 people. She saw something being flown from the back. She felt quite uneasy. She ran away with her children, and then she said that she felt stunned. The loud noise made her daughter cry. We understand that the Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was about to give a speech after visiting a port in that area in support of the local candidate of his LDP ruling party in the upcoming local elections. And just as he was about to start, this object was thrown. He ducked down and he was taken to safety. We have heard from the Prime Minister now. This event was cancelled in that particular venue, but then in another event, he addressed the crowd, appearing, of course, defiant, wanting to send the message that he's unfazed by this, that he won't stop, saying that this shouldn't stop the electoral process, that we're doing something important and that it should not be stopped by this.
But it does raise important security questions, doesn't it? Particularly as it comes just a while after the assassination of the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe.
That's right. This comes less than a year after the assassination of the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and there are very uncomfortable parallels being made. First of all, that it happened relatively soon after that high-profile assassination. Remember, these events are very, very rare in Japan. This is one of the safest countries in the world. They have very strict gun laws. But in the assassination, just before Shinzo Abe was assassinated, we could see that assailant standing very close to him before he shot him with a homemade bomb. Today, the young man appeared to be in the middle of the crowd when he threw that object. And so we don't know the motivation yet, but I think this is going to make many, many people uneasy, just about the parallels as well. Shinzo Abe was also giving a political speech, and that was what Mr. Kishida was trying to do. Since the assassination of Shinzo Abe, there has been heightened security around politicians, but also a heightened degree of nervousness, and I think today's incident is just going to increase that a lot further.
We can speak now to Hugo Dobson, Professor of Japan's International Relations at the University of Sheffield. And let's just pick up with what Shaima was just saying there about the changes brought in, the tightening of security since the assassination of Shinzo Abe. What do you make of the changes that were brought in, and can you tell us a bit more about them?
Well, good morning, Lucy. And I think one thing to highlight here is that within Japan, there was a debate in the aftermath of Prime Minister Abe's assassination. The National Police Agency did admit that mistakes were made and a review was instigated. And I think one failure that was identified was that Prime Minister Abe was not evacuated from the scene as quickly as should have been the case. 2 shots were fired. It was the second shot that killed him. And it was that intervening time that proved to be fatal. I think from what I've seen today, we're still trying to piece together the details, that this lesson has been learned in the case of this morning's incident, and that Prime Minister Kishida was removed quickly and effectively from the scene immediately. But it's always going to be difficult to mitigate against individuals acting alone with readily available low-tech weapons. So it's a challenge, and it's a challenge that's at the heart of our democracy. We want to be close to our politicians, we want them to be visible, but it does involve certain security risks as well.
And I understand, particularly when it comes to sort of the local elections, it's more likely that people will be in crowds sort of nearer the politicians, and they're less stage managed, aren't they, these events?
Absolutely. Japanese election campaigns tend to be very up close and personal. Candidates will often try and get into the thick of it, shaking hands with as many voters as possible, actually making physical contact. Rallies are quite common, and senior politicians will attend. Often the Prime Minister will be there to endorse a candidate. So, election campaigns in Japan tend to really put the emphasis on the personal, and then that risk will inevitably heighten as a result. But it is interesting to see that Prime Minister Kishida did continue with the schedule of talks today and wasn't fazed by the incident.
A fanfare for friendship. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is the latest in a recent line of international leaders to be given the red carpet treatment by China's leader Xi Jinping. In exchange, a show of solidarity from Lula towards Beijing's effort to broker a peace deal in Ukraine. Chinese state media say the leaders agreed dialogue and negotiations are the only way out of the conflict. Analysts say that bolsters China's efforts to work with partners in the BRICS alliance of Brazil, India, Russia and South Africa, and counter a US-led strategy of sanctioning Moscow while offering military support to Ukraine.
It's important to remember that Brazil is an instrumental part of BRICS and more generally speaking China's multipolar world order that's touted as, at very least President Xi's conception of a world where you do not have a single hegemon, but instead a polycentric world where Brazil, China and other leading countries in the global south can comprise a prominent pole that balances against what they view to be Western hegemony, so to speak.
It's not just politics on the presidential agenda. The two leaders have signed a raft of business deals covering agriculture, energy and infrastructure. China has been Brazil's largest trading partner for more than a decade. Last year, bilateral trade topped $150 billion. That's almost double the figure between Brazil and the United States. In addition to securing new trade ties during his time in China, President Lula has ushered in the appointment of Brazil's former leader, Dilma Rousseff, as the head of the BRICS New Development Bank. Bangladesh, Egypt, Uruguay and the United Arab Emirates are also joining the bank. It's a move that's set to expand funding for developing countries and extend Beijing's global sphere of influence.
That's what Brazil is bringing. It's bringing, here I am, I'm a big country. And this is not only about China, this is about the global south as we understand it, we Brazilians in China. China will accommodate that message now because it's in its interest. But I think we need to realize that it's a very, very asymmetric BRICS, no matter the word alliance.
It's an alliance that's attracting increasing attention. More than a dozen countries have expressed interest in joining BRICS, including Iran and Saudi Arabia. China is backing an expansion of the bloc. If it gets its way, there may be a need for even more red carpet rollouts in Beijing in the near future. Richard Kimber, Al Jazeera, Hong Kong.
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines? The 16-year-old that was reported missing has been found. International Monetary Fund urges CBI countries to save revenue for rainy days. Relatives of Puerto Rico governor pled guilty to embezzling funds meant for public housing. Belize government defends decision to impose visa restrictions on Jamaicans and Haitians. Internationally, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was evacuated unharmed from a public event after what appeared to be a smoke bomb was thrown at him. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go round.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company, TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company, together we succeed, building our strong community, pressing onward to our destiny. One love, one family, together we succeed. Let the whole world see. Yes, this is 50. People make the world go round.
This is Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9 for Saturday, April 15, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. You can also follow the program via our social media platforms, so check us out on our Facebook page and as well as our YouTube channel and our Twitter account. We'll be heading back to the phone lines to take some more calls, so let's do that and take this caller. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Devon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Devon, I want to focus the listener's attention to some global events. Now, we know there's a lot of distraction out there on social media and mainstream media, but my attention this afternoon, Devon, is about the crumbling of the U.S. economy and now how should I put this? The formation of the group of companies known as BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And may I hasten to add that South Africa represent the whole continent of Africa. Now we know that the continent have 64 states and most of them have their own currency. But what is trending on the continent is that they are gearing towards one currency. Now let us look at all the benefits that was made last year since the inception of the Russia invasion of Ukraine. Oil companies have benefited billions of dollars from this war. But you know what I'm happy to think about, Devon? The scripture tells me, Devon, that those who are going to have their money, all their wealth, going to be moth-eaten. And this is the beginning of the end of all those wealthy philanthropists who have accumulated their wealth in ways, whether to death, war, corruption. The scripture says that they're going to have their wealth and it's going to be moth-eaten off the shelves. And this is happening, Devon. It is happening now. I know some people don't like the way I articulate the events with the spiritual, or let us say, the fulfillment of the scriptures. But Devon, we are fulfilling scriptures every day. And as much as the U.S. economy is crumbling, the war last year, there are billions of dollars that was made. And these men, the superpowers that be, and those behind-the-scene people, the CIO for ExxonMobil and all those big-time oil companies who benefited from this war, they're going to have their money and they cannot use it. Let us ask ourselves this question, Devon. Which God it is that is working now for the liberation of Africans? I mentioned BRICS, and South Africa is the gateway that represents the continent. Devon, we need to pay attention to these events because we cannot stay the hand. We cannot stay the hand that is in control. But we need to see between the lines. We need to read between the lines and pay attention to what is happening, Devon. Because again, I said to all of us, we are fulfilling scriptures. Devon, this thing is massive. But you see, for me, I am in this physical world, but I am geared towards the spiritual. And then the physical will follow. These people, Devon, they have mastered the art of war. And for decades, we just let it be. Maybe we couldn't until the appropriate time. Well, this is the appropriate time, Devon, because my ancestors, I am not referring to a God in the sky, Devon. I know who is in control of this. Because for 400 years they had all of that time to do, and they did all that they did to us. And this is our time now, Devon. I am here in St. Kitts, a small island in the Caribbean, and I am just one voice. Now, who have ears to hear, let them hear. Because again, I said to all of us, we are fulfilling scriptures. You see, look at the amount of money that Joe Biden pumped into Ukraine, billions of dollars. And for those of us to know, when Hunter Biden was in Ukraine, we know that story. And look what they're now offering Africans, $60 million. $60 million, Devon, compared to almost $100 billion that was pumped into Ukraine. And we still want to remain quiet while they do all their wickedness and just stay quiet and accept it. And Devon, from what I know and from what I'm researching, and I am placing the two together, the scriptures and the happenings. And I know who is going to be the outcome in all this. Thank you for hearing me, Devon.
All right, Colin, thank you so much for your contribution to the discussion for today. This is Inside the News on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. The phone lines are open, and we are taking your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. Thank you so much for joining the conversation for today. We are also live on our social media platforms, so you can check it out there via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel or our Twitter account. And of course, for the latest what's happening in the country, in St. Kitts and Nevis, across the Caribbean region and internationally, you can visit www.WINNmediaskn.com for the update. Again, thank you so much for joining the conversation for today. For those of you who are just tuning in, in the first hour we touched on the drugs that were found at the Southeast Peninsula. I provided some information about the Independence 40 theme competition. The young man Isaiah Berry has been found, according to a statement or a post by the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. Callers have shared their opinions, their views and opinion on a number of different matters locally and internationally. Also, the situation about music festival and whether there should be or should have been acts from Nevis, Nevisian acts. That too is a conversation that is being had at the time, particularly on social media. You'll head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please, you can call us back at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or at 662-0989. We are taking your calls here on today's edition of Inside the News. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this caller. Hello, caller. You are on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Devon.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
You still didn't get your lunch yet, no?
Not as yet.
Johnny, where's your lunch for Devon? I suppose you got to go to South Africa for it. That's my good friend. Now, this human trafficking thing, whether we want to believe it or not, now Belize decided to do something about it. And as he said in your news, the opposition is opposing it, while the same person, the former premier or prime minister, passed the same law. Now, it's bad enough that they're coming to your country, but when they're using your country as a conduit to another country, is an issue. Because we are facing the same thing. You think all those who said they were going to St. Thomas, because how are they going to go to St. Thomas? You could not get into St. Thomas without a visa. So there was no need for a boat ride. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm following.
They were heading towards St. Kitts. And the same thing with the Haitians. They said they're going to St. Martin. How do you get in St. Martin? The French part, you can't just go into the French part, you know, because they're French speaking. Even in St. Martin, you say, from the Dutch to the French side, you can't just go across as you like. The same thing with the Cameroonians. Antigua was used as a gateway to another country. And the question is being asked in Antigua, was Gaston Brown government complicit? Because the action seemed to suggest it, in that some of them were allowed to land and stay in Antigua without an onward ticket. And I know if you come from St. Kitts and you're going to Antigua, you better have a ticket back home anywhere in the Caribbean. So when you allow all these hundreds of people to come in, knowing their intention was to go to the USA, they could have gone to the USA from where they come from. So we got to watch it, because if you're being used as a human trafficking route, it will have impact. When I hear the number of persons in the Mediterranean Sea the other day, a boat had on over 1,000 people. The same kind of tactic, it ran out of fuel. So you want to tell me, and then the captain abandoned the ship. You know about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Human trafficking. The traffickers, they don't care. They bring you somewhere, and how you get in, you get in. When they said the boat has no fuel, they expect that when they send out the SOS, somebody will come and tow them ashore, like how the Navy's thing. Don't think that deliberate, you know. There are many kind not so far from St. Kitts. So as a captain of a boat, you should have an idea as to how much fuel it takes to get to St. Thomas around the corner. And when I heard that one of the passengers on the boat with the Cameroonians was handed over to his legal, whatever you call them, his mother, I think they said his mother. Doesn't that suggest that they were going to come to St. Kitts to you? You ever thought about that?
Repeat that last part for me, please.
It was said on the news that in the boat with the Africans were 3 Antiguans. And one of them, a child, was handed over to his mother in St. Kitts. Doesn't that suggest that all of them were headed to St. Kitts?
That's a good question.
Eh?
I said that's a good question.
Yeah, because they're going to St. Thomas. So you're going to come into the port in St. Kitts, and then how are they going to get into St. Thomas? That's the question, you know. Because you cannot get into the U.S. territory without a visa. And people should go to Tortola. They now tighten up. So the same human trafficking going on around here. And some of us participating in it. You think when the Haitians come, the people, they're not coming. The mere idea that one was walking towards Bath, it means that there were some agents over in Bath. I don't know who they are, you know. But if we use logic, you see where Bath is? They're coming by the market. So I used to spend my vacation in Bath. It's a good walk to go over, or they walk along the shore and then come up. We have agents in our countries, St. Kitts and Nevis, who are facilitating human trafficking. And until we step up on it, as CARICOM citizens, they are entitled to come legally for six months. So there should not be a lot of stress of going through and trying to come in illegal, because their intention is known. So while some people arguing, I'm waiting. Has the case been tried?
Not. I don't think so. Not as yet.
I thought it was to be tried some date before.
I stand to be corrected. I'm not.
Yeah, 'cause I've been listening to hear when my good friend Craig, if you out there, tell us how the case coming. Craig Tuckett, that's my friend. Because a lot of us facilitating human trafficking knowingly. All right then.
All right, Carla, thank you so much for your contribution to the discussion for today. This is Inside the News on WINNFM 98.9. It is Saturday, April 15, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or at 662-0989. Thank you so much for joining the discussion for today. I want to share with you something in relation to agriculture that I thought might be useful information. So, post-harvest handling practices improve agricultural production, prevent losses, and add value to agricultural products. With this in mind, officials from the Ministry of Agriculture said that it is extremely important for farmers to be trained to utilize post-harvest practices. Now, this was highlighted rather in the April 12 edition of In Focus by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Miguel Mills, who noted that post-harvest practices play a very important role in crop production as it determines the final product's quality. Quote, there is a section in agriculture that we call post-harvest practices, and I think there is need to train farmers in post-harvest. So, how you handle the food from the time you harvest it to when you deliver it to the marketing unit or to the buyers, said P.S. Fleming. Mr. Fleming said that an important part of ensuring that farmers are properly trained will be tackled via the Agricultural Training School. The implementation of the school was announced by the Minister of Agriculture, Samuel Duggins, during the Prime Minister's press conference with Cabinet Ministers on March 30th. Head of the Media and Communications Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture, Shira Flanders, shared similar sentiments, adding that the training school will be a welcome addition and will be beneficial to farmers as well as to St. Kitts and Nevis. The aim of establishing the Agricultural Training School is to further strengthen the agriculture sector and ensure that farmers receive the necessary training needed to improve their business skills and capacities and boost productivity. We are going to head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Call us at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. The phone lines are open and we are welcoming your calls. That's 466-0989 or at 662-0989. This is Inside the News for Saturday, April 15. Let's take this call. Hello, caller. You are on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius. Earlier in the program...
caller, before you continue, there's some feedback. You have to turn off the radio.
Okay, sir, sorry about that.
Yes.
Earlier, you had mentioned about the Independence 40 team competition. Well, I heard it last night on the news for the first, and then, I paid no attention to it then. But you mentioned it again today, and, it kind of spiked me being a little ghost. And I'm so disgusted because, to me, it is yet again another disrespect by people. I mean, with literally skill. You're having an Independence 40th team competition and $1,500. And they think, well, that is good enough. I mean, yeah. But if any of them and all of them on the committee could have done it, they wouldn't have put it out there. They would have just insert whatever they want, and that's it. They want to throw it out there. But it's a skill. A man could come and fix your computer and he fix it in 2 minutes and you like waste so much money, but you could have fixed it yourself. So there are people with literary skills. You write a song, you write a speech, a poem, a slogan, a theme. It's literary skill. It is not something everybody could do. And this is not something just with this independence committee thing, you know. It's been going on for carnival, for culture. They give you, they want the slogan, blah, blah, blah. Or we can give some season ticket and a little nut change. And that would enough for you. You ain't had a master's degree, you ain't written away, blah, blah, blah. But it's a skill, and it's about time they learn to respect literary skill. Just like they don't respect creatives. I mean, it's crazy. $1,500. Eh? Come on. And then, you know what? Eat me out again. You win the competition. They want you to appear, okay, maybe before you get the money. It is saying something about you must appear in public and verify the promotion, blah, blah, blah. Whether they can pay extra for that, nothing mentioned about that. Come on, man. Ask cooperative community how much they pay for these things. It's just that they don't publicize it. But it's about time they stop going for free ride and creatives back, man. It's not nice. So I'm calling out to them. They don't got the little measly $1,500 thrown out there. But going down the road, organizations need to look at these things in a much better way, in a more respectful way to people's skill. Literary skill is a skill. You understand? So, Mr. Cornelius, I will touch on the Nevis thing with the culture thing maybe next week. Yeah, so, thanks for the time today, brother.
Carla, before you go, hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how much would you recommend that they receive instead of the 1,500?
Well, I believe personally, 2,000 up. That they could have put another 500 on that, and yeah. And then if you want me to appear on stage or anything, that is another job. You don't use my literary material, and then you still want me to appear in public. Appearing in public is another job. You understand? You want me to appear in public, then make it a 3 or 4, and then we talk about that. But them little nuts change with the beginning people, man, come on, man. And it's a long time they're doing it. The time I'm sitting here with you, right, Mr. Cornelius, I don't write out meeting, you know. But I say, well, it's just my satisfaction. They really can say anything. Because it is all, man, I say it's frustrating. And I listen to other people who does literary work, and it's the same thing. They just step back from doing it. And then just let them give their friends and whoever they want to give after that. But the problem is, literary people just like the work to be out there, right? So even if the charge is not changed, you're going to still get people.
But let me ask you something. Do you think there have been people who are not into literature who have submitted entries and have won? So they're not into literature, but they submit an entry and it was really, really good, outstanding, and they won. What would you say to that?
Well, it's a skill too, not because they're not into it as a career, normally make money of it. You have that creative ability. I mean, a man could design a house, and he's not an architect, you know. You understand? Mm-hmm. He could come up with a decent concept if he have a creative mind. Mm-hmm. A poem, somebody could write a decent poem, but they're not an established poet. You understand? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying the competition shouldn't be out there, but when, as a matter of fact, you don't know who enters. So the prize should be as if it's a professional still. So even though a layman may enter the literary competition, the prize should be of such that it is worthy of the skill, no matter who enters. You see what I'm saying?
All right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, going down the road, they need to, and like I said, if they look at the cooperative community, they will spend some serious money on the material. But like I said, they don't advertise it. They just have a private contract, and they start the promotion. But you hear the catchy phrase and so they pay for those phrases, those catchy stuff, they pay for them. So just going down and trying something and give somebody a season ticket and they'll $700, and yeah, that's good enough. It always bugs me over the years. So I come up with mine in a couple minutes because I have that ability. It might take somebody, a month to come up with it. But it's a skill. A lot of us may or may not have it. So compensate us for it, man. disrespectful $1,500 independence team competition. My God, I'm ashamed of them.
All right,
Thank you,
Carla.
sir.
All right, thank you for your contribution to this program. This is Inside the News on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We'll take a break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the discussion here.
Found the sound 98.9 Win FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9. It is Saturday, April 15, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation for today. An interesting view by the caller there moments ago regarding the Independence Theme competition. I listened to your caller. I understand where you're coming from. My only comment on this topic is that I think there's a difference between this being a competition and the committee sending out a proposal to say we want professionals to submit their suggestions or entries for themes. The competition is open to anybody, citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, so anybody can participate, versus the Independence Organizing Committee sending out a call to say we're calling for professionals in literature to submit their entries. The thing about this, though, it says here that winner will be expected to appear and participate in specific Independence 40 activities. And so there are certain things that you know ahead of time before you participate in the competition. So if you know that this is not something that you would want to participate in, then you just don't participate. If you don't think you're worth $1,500, I wouldn't encourage anybody to go and participate in this and then say, hey, I don't think I'm worth $1,500, so pay me $2,500 or $2,000 or $3,000. If you ain't worth $1,500, don't participate. These are the guidelines of the Independence 40 Organizing Committee. The guidelines for the competition. $1,500. If you win, you're expected to appear and participate in different activities for Independence 40. Cash prize $1,500. is the reason why I'm saying this, because this is a competition. You know, it's different for when you, like, for example, TDC has all of these beautiful ads that you hear here on the radio. They didn't do it in a competition. They reached out to maybe 2 or 3 people, and they perhaps picked from that pool, that small pool, and they said, okay, then John Doe has a better ad than Mary Jane, so we're going to go with John Doe's ad versus it being a competition. So if you were in that small pool of 3 people, then I would have supported the position of you calling, say, well, I don't think I'm worth this amount. This is what I am worth because of my level of experience and knowledge of the field. But if it is a competition, I don't agree that we should want to change the guidelines or rules of a competition after that competition has ended. Let's take this final call for this afternoon. We're going to have to bring the program to an early close. Caller, good afternoon. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. I'm glad I got the last call. Now, the caller has a point, because they didn't expect you to turn up at different functions. Of course, you have to get close to you. You can't just go any and anyhow.
That's a...
It is a point.
That's not an excuse.
They expect you to come dressed
but that's not
appropriately.
But that's not an excuse. Come on. Let us be...
Anyway, they could pay more. It's
let us be real.
Now, let me get to another point before your time run out. Mister, you are more... If they could pay the African fellow 1-point-something million, they could give you more. That is called raiding the treasury, that payment. Because all the money coming from the government. Now...
Wait, before you continue, what payment you're talking about?
For the music festival.
Well, who said they're paying him
paying the participants.
No, I'm not. Who said they're paying him 1.5 million?
I said the alleged,
No, you didn't say that, but okay.
All right, thank you for correcting me. That's what I like you for. Well, look, you better go sing. I hear you sing, You could sing better than him.
No, I can't sing better than him.
You lie. I hear you on the radio.
But I can't sing better than him.
You and your trio. You have, right? I'll do it.
Go ahead, make your point, Carla. Make your point.
All right. I know you could sing better than him and many others. Anyway, now I heard a news item because it reminded me of Louis Bennett poem about the hurricane.
Uh-huh.
They had a hurricane in Jamaica. I think it's Gilbert that destroyed a lot of the coconut trees. And Louise Bennett wrote a poem saying she going down there, she hear they're going to pay compensation. And they're going to have to, she carrying on in her village, right? They have to pay me for my tree. They have to pay me for my coconut tree. So she went to the place where they were taking the information. And she said she ended up behind a man who was reporting how much he lost. He had lost over 2,000-something coconut trees, right? So she said when her turn came, the man asked her, how many trees did you lose? She said, 2. The man said, to what? 200,000? 2,000? She said, Lord, she was ashamed. She just mumbled 2 dozen. Now bring me to this crime symposium. I think CARICOM is planning one and Trinidad one, right? That's how it is, right?
Yes, correct.
Now they're talking about crime. Grenada and St. Kitts offered to attend the CARICOM one. The only 2, Now, in my opinion, St. Kitts crime is like Louis Bennett trees when you stand up behind Jamaica, who's supposed to be there, Guyana, Barbados to some extent, Trinidad. So I said, I want the doctor to understand what they're talking about. The people with the highest crime rate, they're not going. You know that, right? They said two countries offer to attend. Jamaican, they're going down to Trinidad Symposium. Now, when they start to call crime figures, you don't think Dr. Joe and Free funny? Are he in the wrong meeting? You see what I'm trying to say, right?
I'm following you.
Yeah. I said to myself, and now to us it is alarming. There are still 9 in a day in Jamaica and whatever. St. Lucians are coming up. St. Lucia, who are ahead of us, they didn't even offer to go. And they were even saying in that case, the chief of police could have gone. So I said, well, why is Dr. Joe going? When they start to call crime figures, what are you going to say? They're going to ignore you. Why are you only got 9? And this is the 4th month. To us, it is massive. So I am saying we are wasting our money in some of these meetings they're going to. The permanent secretary or the head of these departments can go. Because when you come from a small country, I remember I was at an IMF thing. It's in India. And they're talking about population, right? You know, they got 100 and something million people and whatnot. And when I was to give my country, you have what? I said about 50,000. They want to never, if I leave off the 0. You know what I mean? So I said to myself, are we thinking, are we wasting the government money? A lot of these things that these ministers are attending can be attended by appropriate, adequately informed civil servants. Unless all I see a lot of these things just raid in the treasury, as the AG like to say. What is the level of your contribution at the meeting? It's like when they go to the UN, when the small countries get up to speak in the empty.
So you really think that ministers of government, of the various governments in the region, they go to these meetings and they sit down and they don't
Let
know
me tell you
what
what they're doing. Let me tell you exactly
hold
what
on,
they're doing.
hold on. Let me ask you.
You tell me what you tell me.
Do you really think that government ministers attend these forums?
Attending.
Right? Or attending these forums, they go and they sit down and they don't know what to say?
They know what they say, but they're taking them on because they're from a small country.
Okay. So what they have the forums them for?
The forum is to hear from, let's be realistic. The forum is to hear from countries that they consider significant. If you read ECLAC and the IMF report,
all right,
they're focusing on Central and South America, and they're trying Latin America and the Caribbean. It's a fact, you know.
All right, then.
I've been to the IMF twice, and the bigger countries just get the most attention. So to me, the government, the ministers, they are accumulating per diem and allowances. That's all they're doing. Every time you turn around, all gone. Well, when are they going to settle down around the country? Which other country in the Caribbean you ever hear in your lifetime have 3 and 4 ministers of government, heads, you know, ministers of government, out of the country at the same time? You wonder, well, they used to run on BlackBerry. They run in the one what, iPhone? Is iPhone and iPad run in this country? Every other week, that is what the age is talking about, raiding the treasury. And give the people a chance. Send the permanent secretaries. What are them there for?
All right, then, caller. We're going to have to bring your call.
Anyway, go to church tomorrow, all of you.
All right.
Put God first.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program, Inside the News, here on WINNFM 98.9. Until next time, you guys stay safe and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a beautiful Saturday, a restful Sunday, and see you guys on Monday. Take care.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all